Morning there, YouTube pipe smoking community. Merry Christmas, y'all. So today is a video response to Pipe and a Book's video fora about the illicit use of drugs in our society and marijuana culture, specifically, I guess. Now, I'm going to lead off by first saying that I'm not advocating the use of drugs, and that I believe in each into their own. I'm definitely firmly against the use of hard drugs such as cocaine or heroin or amphetamines, methamphetamines, all that kind of stuff. Anything that's chemically refined and produced is not a good idea. Marijuana is a natural plant, and its bad stigma tends to side on history and how that all came about with the wool industry and cotton, and that hemp was bridging on taking over the industry hundreds of years ago, and a few politicians and Puritans decided to get together and outlaw it because it was affecting their business and revenue and capital that they were going to gain. So, a little housekeeping. Nothing in it right now, but this is my Big Ben billiard. Gorgeous pipe. Put that in your pipe and smoke it. Back on topic. So, marijuana and history. Several documentaries out there that are very informative. One of them, I can't recall the name, but Woody Harrelson narrates it. It's really good, really informative. Might be a little bit biased because he is pro-marijuana and smokes marijuana on a daily basis, so he is, definitely waving the flag for that for sure. But it was still interesting, to say the least. But back to my side. Got a little CEOs here that I'm going to pack and smoke in a little bit, but I think people should make their own decisions, and that there's certain things that the government could do to alleviate the stress on the average citizen that doesn't even partake in smoking marijuana, such as legalization versus decriminalization. Now, British Columbia, the province in which I live, has come on the verge a couple times very closely to decriminalizing it and not legalizing it. The difference being that some people don't understand, legalization is more of a government regulated side, where it'd be like Amsterdam or Holland, where it's legalized and there's only certain amounts that you're allowed to carry, but it's also taxed a lot. So all those cafes, I guess they're called, like a coffee shop, a cafe is where you go to get coffee and like espresso and stuff. Now, a coffee shop is where you go to buy your marijuana, but you can also have coffee. Difference. Anyway, they tax it quite a bit. It's regulated. Things about it need to be posted, like the strain of marijuana, the strength of tetrahydrocannabinol, which is the THC. That's the psychoactive ingredient that gives you the high. Those things need to be made aware. Now, decriminalization focuses more on personal use and certain amounts being okay, and trafficking is not okay. So if you're trafficking large amounts of marijuana, even any amount of marijuana, that's still illegal. But decriminalization would allow a person to, say, grow 3 or 4, maybe even 10 plants a year, and it would only be for personal use. Sorry, who?
Murray. This is Slasher here. The other lease there, is it 10, 13 on the side of the road?
Sorry, you're gonna have to excuse my radio. As a paramedic in the oil patch, you have to listen to CB radios all day, and people check in with you and all that kind of stuff. So pardon me, I'm hiccuping here. If I kind of turn away and start talking on the radio, or even peel out and go to an emergency, you guys might get to come for the ride. But back to decriminalization. The certain individuals or someone wanting to partake in smoking marijuana would be legally allowed to possess up to a certain amount for personal use. They would be able to, let's say, grow marijuana on their own personal property. Like, let's say if it was decriminalized, you could mitigate the factors of it being a victimless crime. Now, I don't like the term victimless crime because it does produce victims, especially when it's associated with organized crime, when it's illegal. So it's a self-perpetuating cycle. If it's illegal, it's just like prohibition, right? It's going to bring out the criminal element anywhere. But if it was decriminalized and people were allowed to grow it, and mitigating the victimless crime factor, you could say you would have to be a homeowner. You'd have to legally own your home. You couldn't have a mortgage or any kind of tender or lien on your property. And let's say the government stepped in and said you can only grow this product outside, because people growing it inside have the whole hydroponic system going, or even a field of green system or anything like that, and that you need lights and electricity. It would drive up carbon production. More people would start growing. It has a huge environmental impact, right? And then the risk factors associated with that, like fire, electrical fires breaking out, home fires, the carbon and like poisonous gases, people using fertilizers inside, and then that home becomes unlivable. It's not resellable. It's not going to be available for the open market, right? So if they said you can grow it, but you can only grow it outside, you can only grow X number of plants per year, and you have to own your property, it cuts down on that victim factor. And then it's only for personal use, you know, like it would cut down on that quite a bit. Once again, don't do drugs, kids. I personally do not partake in marijuana or any such illicit substances for recreational use, but some of my friends do, and they offer it to me. They ask me, hey, do you want to smoke up? I will admit, in high school I smoked a shit ton of marijuana. It was just the thing to do. Where I live, growing up, smoking weed is just like smoking cigarettes. It's British Columbia. It's world-renowned marijuana. If you didn't smoke weed, you were like, I don't know, you were either the preacher's son or the preacher's daughter, or something was just wrong with you. So that's my little spiel on marijuana and legalization versus decriminalization. And I'm more pro decriminalization than legalization, because if it's legalized, it also harms a lot of the people that use marijuana for medicinal purposes, like legit medicinal purposes such as AIDS, cancer, Crohn's disease, all that kind of stuff, right? And a lot of those people that I've encountered in the medical field have claimed that medical marijuana that's supplied to them by the government isn't as strong as they need it to be. It's not up to par. It's often a substandard product, and that's why they end up going to the street, and then they support the criminal element. They're supporting organized crime, and that's not cool, man. Yes, decriminalization versus legalization.